You're watching Cetome TV. Knowledge is power.
Derek wants to know, how can I tell if my cancer treatment is working?
Well, I think the best way, the cheapest, not the cheapest, but the best way to do it is to use a PET-CT. And liquid biopsies, of course, is a great complement for PET-CT. Okay,
well, tell us about those things, because who knows what those things are? Except for you.
A few people.
Yeah, exactly. So how can I tell if my cancer treatment is working is the question from Derek, and you're saying the best way is a PET-CT and some liquid biopsies. So let's start with PET-CT. What's that?
So PET-CT is a metabolic targeting using radioactive nucleotides attached to a sugar molecule.
Okay.
And that identifies the metabolic activity of the tumors, because as you know, tumors preferentially drink up more sugar than standard tissue.
Because they're growing so quickly.
Because they're growing so quickly.
Thirsty, they're hungry.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. So the PET-CT, in contrast with a CT, no pun intended with the contrast there, but in contrast with the CT scan, which just kind of shows if you have a mass or not.
Right.
It kind of shows
shapes and shadows.
Shapes and shadows. The PET-CT actually shows you whether that mass has cancerous cells.
Whether it's metabolic, highly metabolic,
right,
which is supposed to be cancer.
Right. Okay. And the other thing that you mentioned that Derek could use to find out if his treatment is working is liquid biopsies. So tell us a bit about what those are and how you'd use them for treatment monitoring.
Well, specifically, I would recommend for treatment monitoring versus discovery, I would recommend exosome-based liquid biopsies. And so what we now know about cancer is the tumor stem cells release these little packets of information called exosomes. And these exosomes travel throughout the body to new sites, and they convert normal tissues into cancerous tissues.
Okay. So keeping an eye on how many of those you have in your blood tells you if your cancer is growing or not.
Exactly. So what we've discovered with our research is that these exosomes take the form of many different things: proteins, RNAs, DNAs. And interesting enough, cancer cells, when they have a mutation in a certain oncogene, and this is true for tumor suppressor genes too, is they will send out an abundance of this oncogene or tumor suppressor mutation to interrupt the other signaling in different cells. It's very exciting information.
Yeah.
We're about to publish on this very soon.
Yes, that is very exciting. Good luck with your report and all that comes down from that.
Yeah, it's going to be a real landmark.
Now, you mentioned something just for the folks at home. You mentioned there's a type of liquid biopsy, the exosome-based one, that you'd highly recommend with very good reason for treatment monitoring. But you mentioned something about a different liquid biopsy for discovery.
Yeah, so there's many different types of liquid biopsies. For discovery, you want to use something that looks at all of the DNA in the blood. So the DNA from dead tumor tissues, which is also going to be in the blood, tumor from live tumor, circulating tumor cells, and exosomic together.
So would that be, is that the same thing then as a circulating tumor DNA test? Or is
no, circulating tumor DNA is actually the isolation of DNA from tumors specifically.
Oh, okay.
Not normal cells.
Okay.
So when you go in the blood and you do an extraction from the blood, you end up with DNA from everything.
Okay.
Bacterial, viral,
right.
Dead tumor cells, live tumor cells,
so
and exosomes. Normal cells, it's a mush.
Right. So hard to differentiate and really tell, which is why you use the exosome-based ones for the monitoring, because then you can tell exactly.
Exactly. It's coming from a metastatic process.
Yeah. Okay. So for the folks at home, if I don't know a whole lot about cancer and I'm trying to make sure I get the right tests, if I wanted, like you said, for discovery, that means to find out if I have cancer.
Yes,
what would those tests be
called? Not to
called?
find out if you have cancer, but to find out the mutations that are causing your cancer.
Okay.
Now, incidentally, you could find out that you do have mutations that are common to specific cancers through liquid biopsies, but it's kind of a random way. There's so many different possible mutations and permutations in cancers that you can't target a single mutation and expect to find it too often. Okay,
got it. All right. Thanks, Derek. Good question there. So we know we can use the imaging technology of PET-CT, and we can use the exosome-based liquid biopsies.
For monitoring.
For monitoring, yes. That's right. Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Thank you for watching Ctome TV. Subscribe below and stay informed.